So the pain point is really just to get more awareness, to position themselves as leaders in their industry, and ultimately to get a lead source, inbound leads of quality, ready to buy customers.
Hello and welcome to Brand Tuned, a podcast on brand management that covers trademarks and IP as they're intrinsic to brand equity. I'm your host, Shireen Smith, author of Brand Tuned. Writing this led to Byron Sharp's evidence-based research, stressing distinctiveness over differentiation, which I largely agree with, though not totally. Hence our tagline, Sharp Branding. My guest is John Vuong, the founder of Local SEO Search, Inc. We talk all things search engine optimization. So welcome to the Brand Tune podcast, John. I'm really keen to find out how you do actually help thought leaders to, position themselves. Before we go there, I'd love to ask you a question on an issue that I have actually personally faced with local SEO. And that is that we were quite prominent in London, in Islington. And then when I got an office in Hastings, I proved that we were getting this office to Google, and they posted us on as existing in Hastings. But then I noticed that they weren't giving our reviews. They weren't showing the reviews. So I've effectively retracted that. Is it really necessary to do that? Because I couldn't find anyone who could actually help me to have two offices, a London office and a Hastings office, and yet one sort of set of reviews, because we are the same business,
Yes. Well, that's a great question, Shireen. My advice would be what Google's looking at is their independent offices starting brand new. Yes, you as a brand might have one set of reviews because you service clients in both locations. Mm-hmm. But with that new location, just like when people are going to a Starbucks or a supermarket like Sainsbury, each location has their own set of reviews, which is a unique entity. And when you do that and understand the reasoning why Google's doing this, it's because users want to know that specific location, the experience that people have had at that specific location, branch, community. And therefore, it's a brand new set of identity purposes that you have to start creating and building up.
It works for physical places, but a business like ours, which services clients all over the world, it just doesn't. So in the end, we've just retracted the Hastings office. It's still on our website that we have that office, but I sort of told Google to forget the office. I can't remember what we had to do, but we had to go in and actually delete the Hastings office. So that's really odd that Google still assumes that businesses are all local ones. And we actually also lost all our SEO benefits that we'd built locally because the office is now in a different part of London. It's not in Islington, and therefore we never show up. So I'd really love to hear what businesses can do in order to still retain any local SEO search benefits that they've worked to acquire if they do move locations, but still have a presence locally. Somewhere like London is quite big. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say because you're moving locations and what Google's looking for is there's a lot of factors. There's over 200 signals. And whenever there's a shift in your location as well as users' intent, because users want to look for location-specific proximity, prominent, and you want to ensure that Google realizes that there hasn't been any changes in your end. So the migration piece is very important in terms of letting Google know that you're still the same business, but we've just moved offices. So, however, if the map section of Google, which is the local 3-pack, has been impacted quite significantly. It's because of what Google is looking for. They're looking to match users with the businesses that they intend to search in a local area. And that's why the map is so prominent today. So you
Okay.
have to understand like what is in it, not just for you, but the users, and what Google is trying to fulfill is the best match, what the users intend to match with businesses.
How do you help with local search? Are you mainly based in Canada or can you help people anywhere in the world?
Yeah, we're a global company. We started in Canada because of my background. I was born and raised here in Canada, but I started this agency 8 years ago,
Mhm.
solely with the intent of helping small, medium-sized businesses dominate their local niche and community across Canada. The last couple years, I've expanded it across North America, UK, and global, and just to expand the reach. But we do the same thing in different markets because we have a very strong, I guess, understanding in terms of how businesses operate. My background prior to starting this agency was working in advertising sales for 10 years.
Mhm.
And at that time, I worked at for 5 years at Yellow Pages Group. And that's where I met and understood a lot of the businesses that really mattered in communities, and why they got into business and the fundamentals, and what was important to them. So I really wanted to support them to have more of a digital presence when there was that behavioral shift from traditional advertising to then digital advertising.
What's your starting points? What is the pain that makes a business turn to you for help?
I think a lot of businesses understand that there's a lot of choices that they have to make in terms of advertising. They have to realize that advertising is more of a awareness platform, right? There's a lot of mediums that they can choose from: traditional newspapers, flyers, radio, television, trade shows, magazines, etc. And then now this digital space is very, I would say, there's so many choices. There's apps, there's video, there's podcasts, there's social media, then there's search engines, and then there's retargeting ads. And it becomes a lot more complex for the business owners that have been in school for so long, and they've been in their trade and expertise for so long, that they don't know where to go and who to go to and what to do to get in front of more of their ideal type of clients. So the pain point is really just to get more awareness, to position themselves as leaders in their industry, and ultimately to get a lead source, inbound leads of quality, ready to buy customers. And when they all understand the importance of how a website, the strongest asset piece that people, business owners should really understand today. It used to be a telephone number or maybe bricks and mortar storefront, but today that website is so important as your major asset of your business. If you understand that, you should protect it, and also um, have it generate a lot more traffic and leads for your business.
I seem to remember that local search results often generated quite a lot more business for us than, well, we never actually engaged an SEO company, but because we were writing a lot of content, this is like 5, 6 years ago, and we still do, we come up quite a lot in the search engines for various terms. But local search was particularly effective because it just brought you up with maybe couple of other competitors. So we had many more inquiries as a result of local search. So why is that, do you think?
Yeah, you have to understand the user behavior when people are ready to buy. I did work at Yellow Pages for 5 years. My VP of sales was there for 30 plus years. So we understand the intent of what business owners want in a local landscape, as well as the users, the actual customers ready to buy. They
Mm.
tend to do a lot of research, informational gathering, doing a lot of comparison shopping, price shopping online. But when it comes to ready to buy, like ready to purchase a service or product, they tend to shop within a local landscape in your local community, radius of 2 to 5 kilometers, etc. So that's why when they're ready, they typically go to Google, and they typically go on the map. But there's a lot of signals between that to trigger them to want to then take that next step of making that phone call to your business or inquiry on your website.
Right.
And the multiple touch point becomes they're going to vet you. They're going to check out your website. They're going to check out the about us and your story, your brand, check out some of the blog content. And then they're going to check out some of your other asset pieces. Maybe it be social media, maybe your reviews and reputation. Maybe it'll be your before and after galleries or testimonials or case studies. Check you out on third-party websites before they feel comfortable to then take that relationship to the next level, to then make an inquiry. And this is how the users now behave when they're doing informational gathering kind of research. So everything's at their disposal and they're in control. And that's the power of SEO versus paid ads, where you're pushing an advert in front of potential customers in hopes that they're going to convert at that specific time when they're ready.
What was the report that Google published a few years ago? Was it 0 Moments of Truth or something like that, where they show the number of touch points that searchers look for before they actually engage with you? Before they pick up the phone, they'll have often done quite a lot of research and found out about you.
Yeah, I mean, there's data on a regular basis from a lot of sources. I mean, there were 14 touch points previously. Now it could be 17 to 18 touch points. The
Wow.
time spent would be dependent on the industry, the price and the service or relationship that you're trying to delve into. Because if it's a small product-based widget that people are going to only spend 20 to 30 pounds on, they're not going to do a lot of due diligence. But when it comes to a home renovation or purchase of a larger ticket item like a car, they're going to spend a lot more time in research, comparison shopping, checking out different models, checking out reviews, checking out videos. You know, it's like if you look at yourself when you're really purchasing a big product, you're going to do much more research.
So, how do you help your clients? Obviously, search can be quite competitive. How do you decide which terms to target for them in terms of local SEO?
Yeah, so for us as an agency, so I own an Agents Guild local SEO search. What we focus on is doing everything that is required, the best job we can to help businesses position themselves as leaders, thought leaders, authoritative figures in their niche or in their market that they want to serve. Um, and there's a lot of touch points. There's a lot of asset pieces that we want to control and help you dominate. But the most important one is your website. So the first off thing we do is really understand the KPI, the metric. What are you trying to track and what are you trying to do and your main focus point, right? Who is your ideal customer? What is the talking pain points that you want to serve, and understanding who your ideal persona, avatar type of ideal client is. Once you create that persona, then we can start writing compelling, content, and also all the different asset pieces out there to engage and let people know that it's a consistent message across all platforms. Then, of course, there's all these pillars that's included from SEO strategy, like competitive landscape, research, knowing what other people are doing and saying, and the links profile and the content questions, the keyword density, the keyword volume. And then, of course, the development of it, making sure the UX is clean, smooth, fast, loading. There's a lot of other components of the developers. And then the link engagement, which is more the amplification of your content so that other people can read and watch and listen to your information. And hopefully that generates more traction for your business. And then, of course, everything is in synergy. So it's not one thing that does everything for your business. It's a multitude of everything collectively to do it properly well the first time. And when you do that, then you have a well-oiled machine that will generate a website that starts ranking in terms of a majority of your service offerings that you want to dominate for. And also you're going to start getting and seeing a lot more ready to buy inbound leads for your business that you all you have to do is really, qualify them and price them out because they've already done all their homework.
Excuse me for interrupting, but it's a marathon for most businesses, in my experience, to even know who their ideal customer is. And well, let me ask you, who is your ideal customer?
Yeah. So for me, after 8 years of doing this, my ideal customer is service based, someone that's been in business for at least 2 to 3 years with established revenue that have been in doing what they've been doing. Maybe their business hasn't been doing it, but they have experience in it for a lot longer. And they understand that there are customers that they already know that they want to attract. So I don't want to do a lot of their vetting for them with a lot of, I guess, polls and surveys. They should already know who they want to cultivate and be known as in their industry by specializing in specific service or products. And once they know that, then I can help them, um, scale their business to become that thought leader in their industry.
Okay, well, if I tell you I do intellectual property law, I specialize in trademarks, I'm very interested in branding, and actually, branding really impacts everything people choose in branding, like names, logos, symbols, are impacted by IP. But I don't have a clue which term is the best one to attract. Say, I want a marketing director of a company, a million plus turnover, but I don't have a clue what term I would target for that. Is it intellectual property? Is it trademark lawyer? But that doesn't really convey that I can also help people with branding. So these are some of the problems, I guess. So I'm just wondering how you help somebody to work it out, the details.
Yeah, so typically what we do is we benchmark your website with some of your major competitors in the industry that you feel are thought leaders. We can use tools and software for that, understanding what content pieces, which keywords they're going after, and everything is more of a roadmap. We can see and sniff what's going on in the industry. Then we can put together a roadmap for yourself, for your business to not just compete, but become visible in the likes of your major competitors. Then we can sniff and see what are the converting traffic keywords and figure out, like, it's not a huge task to do a lot of keyword digging and mapping. It's more about trial and error afterwards because not all the keywords will convert at a very high level. And that only takes all it is time, right? Because you're going to have to test to see what works and what doesn't. The type of clients should be cultivated through inbound leads and they should be ready. So refining the type of leads that you're going to get is by asking the right questions, knowing which content pieces they were attracted to, what triggered them, and then pivoting, right? So this is the entire business model of most businesses, right? You can't be stagnant. You got to continually be proactive and growing and seeing what's out there so that you can always be in front of more potential of your customers.
So do you recommend doing some paid ads in order to see which terms convert best before you actually spend time doing SEO for people?
Yeah, so there's a big difference between the people who type in, click on paid ads versus people who click on organic ads.
Right.
And you have to understand users, yourself, saying the average consumer purchasing your product, would they click on a paid ad versus the map or below? And then it's more about, okay, when they do click on the ad, is there an intent purpose? Are they just pricing shopping? Like paid ads, I feel, are more product plays and people are really just shopping around. When you're looking for a more relationship, long-term type of business relationship, it's more organic in nature. You don't want to sell people on the paid. You want them to come to you when they're ready seeking out your product and service. And that's the type of difference between SEO versus paid. And it's very similar to like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. It's all pushing stuff at people.
Right.
And that's where I found very interesting at Yellow Pages. Like it was really inbound leads versus pushing people with brochures, magazines, trade shows. Like you're out there all the time trying to sell with a compelling message. That's what paid ads are right now digitally, except with SEO, it's inbound.
How many keywords can you realistically target for local SEO search?
So keywords, I would say each page on your website, from services to blogs, can go after variations of, I would say, 10 to 20 keywords, right?
Mhm.
That you should be going after with high volume and potential to convert. So there's a lot of potential to get thousands of keywords going to your website if done right. So you should not be conflicting content that competes for the same keyword on all your pages, right? So you have to structure it properly and understand what Google's looking for when they index your website.
And would you then change somebody's website, or at which point would you decide that they need a new website because it's not structured as well as you might want, for example?
Yeah. So in the due diligence phase, when we do a prospect and analysis, we are upfront to see how you compare, how you rank, what are the pros and cons to your existing website versus your major competitors. Why are they ranking versus you? And give you an analysis to let you decide. But we would recommend. And that's what we do, right? We're an honest SEO agency that just gives you all the data for you to decide. And then you either say yes or no. And most people trust us because we've gone through many of these situations before. And the interest of us is really to help small business owners compete with the larger brands out there, because I understand how difficult it is for small business owners to survive, let alone compete with the larger retailers out there.
Do you just focus on Google, or do you cover Bing as well?
So with Google, our main focus is Google because it's the 80-20 rule or whatnot. Like majority of the people in the world are using Google as their major search engine. And if only 1 in 20 people are searching on Bing, why should I invest most of my time and effort trying to get you ranked on Bing when only 1 in 20 will search there?
Is it not worth also targeting Bing?
I mean, it's your investment, right? So if you spend £2,000 a month on SEO, how much time and effort do you want to invest if it's only 5% of the potential prospects seeking you out there? I always say be where people and your customers are seeking you out. And then you are playing in a field that has a lot more ready to buy customers.
So if people are going to be spending as much as 2,000 a month on something like this, what are you doing for them on a
Yeah.
regular
So
basis?
yeah, the whole gamut of full service, right? That is the strategy: competitive analysis, keyword research, content writing, social media updates, link building, reputation management, you name it. This is why I built this, because I wanted to compete with like the big guys that have a full team, and we've built a full team for small business owners. And my focus is to make it at an entry point that is fair and also generates a good ROI for your business so that you can compete with the larger players.
What if somebody's already got various things covered, like SEO, social media, and they write their own content? I would hate somebody to write our content because it's quite specialized and
I totally agree. We always have the same kind of framework. And if people already are comfortable writing their own blogs or social media posts, then we pivot and put more emphasis on other factors that will move the needle. So that's what we do by knowing and engaging with customers. We customize all campaigns so that we both are feeling comfortable with an arrangement that's fair.
How do you mean you customize the arrangement? Do you mean you respond to inquiries or?
No, so
No?
if it's a full service offering
Oh, I
and
see.
you're doing the blogs yourself, we would advise you on the keyword, the metas, the keyword density, the type of format, and then we would audit it to make sure it's SEO friendly before you post it. but you're doing the writing, right?
Oh, I
So
see. So you do the writing, but then, I mean, the person does the writing, but you might post the blogs.
yeah, so most clients are too busy, so we actually do the writing for them
Mhm.
after getting a lot of due diligence questions and the call with personalization, storytelling with the clients, so that we can put in their tone and voice and the structure for them to um, feel comfortable.
Is it at all common in your experience for clients to raise the question of copyright if you're going to be writing content for them so that they can own the copyright?
Yeah, so for us, we actually let them own everything because we're personalizing it, and then we let them review it and QC it, and they give us the okay to post it. So we have no ownership in any of the content pieces. The customers do.
Well, legally you do because you create it, but do your clients actually realize they need to get an assignment in writing from you to get the copyright
So I
or
haven't had that instance.
Mhm.
For me, it's always been more ethically for me is I don't want to own anything. That my arrangement is to really to help these businesses with their voice and tone and the efforts, right? They're paying for a service and they want to trust someone that is doing the right thing with content and structure and the entire process of ranking them. So just like any other service that people are purchasing, physio, chiro, et cetera, massage, we want to just provide that service for clients.
So, just one question. What is your ultimate aspiration for your own business? You said you're global. So, do you intend to grow it to sell, or is it a lifestyle business for you?
It's definitely a lifestyle business. I grew
Mm.
it to really support and help business owners. And I've built a family type kind of business because all my staff are an extension to me and my family, as well as my clients. They understand the foundation, the hard work it takes to build not just a business, but a community.
Mm.
And we're all in the same mindset. I have no aspirations of selling it. I love what I do. I'm constantly growing. I'm always challenging myself. I'm trying to get better and improve every single process, every single system, every single productivity tool, every to become more efficient, streamlined, to be better leader, to get out there and improve my speaking skill set, my podcasting, video. Like everything is all about a challenge and growing. And that's what makes me and excites me today.
I was curious. I mean, with a name like local SEO search, you're very, very vulnerable to competitors using the same term, and you can't have unique rights over that. I'm just wondering, are you aware that the brand equity would be reduced by using a description rather than a name?
Yeah, I mean for me, I understand that naming rights is very critical in terms of brand identity.
Mm.
And I chose it to simplify it with a keyword. Um, and it allowed me to get into the market. And that's what my focus was, to help these small business owners that wanted to rank and dominate locally. So
Right.
it made sense. And it still continues to make sense for me. And I'm not in the mindset of trying to sell it anytime soon.
No.
So it would be different if that was my intention all along, with maybe VC funding or some equity partners or some of the partners. I've built this business by bootstrapping it. And
Sure.
so for me, it's more of a lifestyle business.
And you're happy to stay on local SEO or
Well, we spend 80% of our clients are localized in the service base, but 20% are B2B global. So they realize what efforts and works we've done in the SEO space. So we don't just focus on local. We have clients in different various markets and industries and different aspects of their business.
Great. So thank you very much. I'm just going to ask you two questions, really. Firstly, what lessons, up to two lessons, have you learned during your time in entrepreneurship that you'd pass on to a best friend or your own child?
The first one would be never giving up because early days it was very frustrating, not knowing if this was right for me, right? And there were sleepless nights. There were hours on end debating if I should just go back to my 9 to 5 and get a good solid paycheck again.
Yeah,
So
it's
for me,
tough,
that
isn't it?
the determination, the grit, the perseverance was very important for me to continue. And then the second thing is when you get to a point where you want to work on, like not in your business, but on your business, then you have to let go, which is another pivot, which is understanding that there are great people that you can hire and give them more of a leadership role and let them become more accountable. And so I was then, this probably was 5 years ago, I started hiring more people to allow me to have this lifestyle versus trying to do everything the right way, my way only. Other people have their own ways to do things that might or not be good based on what you think, but it would work for them. And as long as it still accomplishes your ideal goal and the vision, then that's okay. And it's
Yeah.
okay to start letting go a little. And that's one thing I started doing a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's a great point. I noticed earlier when we had a chat before this started that you've got lots of books there. So can you name 3 books that you would recommend for listeners to develop and grow their business and brand?
Yeah. So for me, I read quite a bit. I enjoy reading. I read 1 to 2 books a week.
Wow.
So for me, it depends on where you're at in your journey, right? Ready, Aim, Fire from Michael Masterson. It was 0 to 100 millions in no time flat. So it just gives you a preparation of where you're at in the stages of your business to really amplify your business. Scaling Up by Vern Harnish is more for larger brands and companies. But that was also good. So that gives you more of a company structure, really working on like core foundations, values, and making sure everyone's in alignment. Rocket Fuel was also a really good one. And then, of course, Building a Brand, Story Brand by Donald Miller.
Oh, yeah. Story Brand is great. Yeah.
Yeah. So just understanding, like reading gives you a lot of perspectives from other experiences that you might not already know.
I entirely agree. It's a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, and if you're not able to read, there's a lot of communities that you can join and reach out to. There's a lot of forums, there's a lot of blogs, there's audio tapes, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos. You need to be hungry and ready to continue learning and falling forward or failing forward, I would say, and never give up.
Thank you very much, John. That's a good note to end on.
Thanks a lot for having me, Shireen.
Yeah, it's been great having you. Bye.
Well, I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you, Shireen.
Bye. That's it for this week. Do subscribe to the Brand Tuned newsletter to get weekly updates. I'd also love to get your feedback. Just send me an email to info@brandtune.com. Finally, if you liked the episode, please do share it with your friends and colleagues and review it on iTunes or whichever platform you use to listen to podcasts. If you leave us a 5-star review, it means more people will listen and we can spread the word much more quickly about the podcast. Thank you and bye for now.